Today, May the 21st, today is the 8th day of the Satipatthana meditation retreat. Practicing Satipatthana meditation, we cultivate our mindfulness so that there will be Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration. When mindfulness and concentration are continuous and strong, knowledge unfolds itself. In the practice, the indriyas, among the indriyas such as saddha, faith and confidence, viriya, effort, samadhi, concentration, such indriyas, there are times when they are slack, there are times when they are obsessive. Saddha can be excessive at times, viriya can be excessive at time, uh, samadhi can be excessive at times, not being balanced. But for sati, there are times when sati is lacking. There is no such time. Sati, mindfulness, is excessive. So that's why one has to take utmost care to cultivate sati, mindfulness, so that it will be balanced and it will be conducive for our practice. First of all, I would like to explain the nature, characteristic, function, manifestation, so that it is helpful for our practice. Sati, mindfulness, has the characteristic apilapana lekhana. Apilapana lekhana means not wobbling, not floating. So when one notes the object, mindfulness should not be wobbling on the surface. It should not be floating on the surface. It should not be superficial. The example is given. When a piece of cork is thrown into the water, the cork floats on the surface. Mindfulness should not be like that piece of cork floating on the surface. When a stone is thrown into the water, it sinks into the water. In the same way, when one is noting the object, mindfulness should as if like sinking into the object. Apilapana lekhana, meaning mindfulness has the nature characteristic of not wobbling on the surface. Asamosana rasa, meaning sati, mindfulness, has the function of not losing sight of the object, not forgetting the object, not losing sight of the object. So when rising arises, yogi has to note it as rising. When falling takes place, noting it as falling. But if the yogi loses to note the object, misses to note the object, then one loses sight of the object. It should not happen. Asamosana rasa, mindfulness has the function not losing sight of the object, always in view of the object, meaning whatever object that arises, whether rising, falling, sitting, touching, or lifting, moving, placing, standing, turning. Also in the daily activities, whatever activity that the yogi is noting, one should not lose sight of the object. One should always be in view of the object, noting it in the way the object is. So in this way, asamosana rasa, having the function of not losing sight of the object, keeping in view, keeping the object in view, not forgetting. Araka Pachupatana, it manifests as protection. Mindfulness is the protection. It protects the mind so that defilements cannot enter the mind. So it's like a doorkeeper. A doorkeeper protects so that the bad people cannot enter the building. So it's the security. In the same way, mindfulness is like protection or the security. There is the word rakha varana kuti. Rakha means protecting, guarding, protecting. Avarana means blocking. It blocks the defilement from entering into the mind. So when there is guarding, protecting, blocking the nirvana hindrances from entering into the mind, there is kuti, safety, security. When there is safety, security, there will be mukti, freedom. So in this way, mindfulness is the protection. So long as there is mindfulness protection, the mind is safe and secure, and thus the mind will be in freedom. It will not be captivated by the defilements. Aramana bimukhi bhava pachupatana, meaning sati is manifested as being face to face or direct with the object. So in life, if you want to look at a person, you have to be face to face to look at the person, to see clearly who the person is. In the same way, when noting the object, one should note in such a way so that the noting mind is face to face, direct with the object, so that yogi discerns the nature that is obvious in the object that has been noted. Noting rising, when the mind is face to face, direct with the object, yogi discerns nature such as stiffness, tension, movement, vibration, pulling, pushing, and so on. So in this way, when the noting mind is face to face or direct with the object that has been noted, yogi discerns what is there in the object that has been noted. When the yogi can cultivate the mindfulness in such a way, it becomes a good quality mindfulness. In the word satipatthana, Buddha used the word satipatthana, not only sati, but satipatthana. So the meaning is the mindfulness that is firmly established on the object of meditation. So the kind of sati is outstanding, forceful, firmly established on the object of meditation. When sati is cultivated, samadhi, concentration, also is cultivated, and there will be sambhajana. Sambhajana is easily translated as clear comprehension. But in the word sambhajana, san means by oneself, completely, outstandingly, correctly. So in this way, in the word sambhajana, san means by oneself, completely, correctly. Pa, pa means distinctly, outstandingly. So in this way, sambhajana means knowing by oneself, outstandingly, distinctly, knowing by oneself, completely, outstandingly, distinctly, knowing correctly, outstandingly, distinctly. So it's not just ordinary knowledge. It is not what one had learned from books or from talks or from hearsay, but it is what the yogi comes to discern from his or her own experience. It's not partial, it's complete, not wrong, but correctly, outstandingly, not in a mixed way, but distinctly, seeing, discerning the characteristics, impermanent suffering, and non self. Yogi discerns by oneself completely, correctly, outstandingly, distinctly. On previous day, I have explained on the basic knowledges, discerning distinctly between mind and matter, discerning cause and effect. By discerning these two knowledges, yogi removes ditthi, wrong view, momentarily. So how precious even the basic knowledge is. It is very precious that one can discern through the satipatthana practice. Even the ones who practice lokiya jhana, they can be absorbed in the lokiya jhana, but they cannot discern mind and matter, cause and effect with the jhana practice. Only through the satipatthana practice, we have the opportunity to discern mind and matter, cause and effect, removing avijja. Every moment one discerns avijja is being removed momentarily. As the yogi practices further, yogi discerns arising and passing away of the objects. Whatever object that arises, yogi, being mindful of it, comes to discern how it arises, passes away. When noting pain, yogi discerns the nature, what is in the pain, such as stiffness. It doesn't stay the same. It arises, passes away. One stiffness arises, passes away. Another stiffness arises, passes away. In this way, it is not just one pain that is staying for the whole half an hour, but as the yogi penetrates into the object, yogi sees how the stiffness, one stiffness arise, pass away, another stiffness arise, pass away, one after another. In this way, yogi sees the impermanence. In the beginning, when the mindfulness is weak, yogi think it is the knee that is in pain, but When watching it carefully, mindfulness, concentration becomes stronger. Yogi sees the pain itself, how the nature is stiff, tense, not only stiffness, tension, but how it arises, passes away. When the yogi sees the pain itself, stiff, tense, how it arises, passes away, the paramattha become prevalent, that the panyati submerge. There's no leg, no knee. What is really there is the stiffness, tension that arises and passes away, and the noting mind that knows it. No knee, no pain, no knee, no leg. So when paramattha emerges, the panyati, leg, knee, the concept submerges. And when it happens, when the yogi sees the pain itself, even though it's pain, but it's not so bad after all, because mental pain is not added to it. If there is impatience, if there is being upset why the pain has to come every sit, then it makes it worse because there are two kinds of pain, the physical pain and the mental pain. That makes it two. But when the yogi gets to the stage of seeing the pain itself, how the characteristics are, how it arises and passes away, even though it is unpleasant, there is no mental pain, no upsetness, no discourage, no uh, mental pain. So it's not bad. But in fact, yogi even gains courage in noting when the yogi sees the pain go away, yogi builds up courage in the practice. This courage helps the yogi to practice further. That's what is said, courageous effort. Viriya is normally um, translated as effort, but the meaning is viriya, viranam bhavo viriya. Viriya is the act or the state of courageous person. Courageous people are able to make the effort. When the yogi discerns arising and passing away of the object, yogi has cultivated vipassana knowledge. And as the yogi continues the practice, yogi discerns fast arising and passing away of the objects. At that stage, the practice becomes smooth, illumination, piti, joy, rapture, tranquility arises. Sati, mindfulness, become amazingly strong. At that stage, sati is not only sati but patthana, firmly established mindfulness. Samadhi become very deep. Knowledge become clear cut. When the yogi reaches that stage of udayapaya jnana, it is assured that if the yogi continues the practice, can attain the goal in this very life because udayapaya jnana, seeing fast arising and passing away of the object, it is one of the factor among the five Padani Yanga. Padani Yanga are the five limbs of striving. The first one is faith and confidence in the omniscient knowledge of the Buddha, having faith and confidence in the Dhamma that the Buddha had taught, faith and confidence in the Sangha, who handed down the teachings, faith and confidence in oneself. Having faith and confidence that if he or she practice accordingly, can gain the benefit as well as goal in the practice. Sada, faith and confidence in the triple gem as well as oneself, especially in the Satipatthana practice. One of the factor. The second is health. Even though nowadays nobody is perfectly healthy, but as long as one can eat sufficiently, being able to digest the food, person is taken to be healthy enough to pursue the practice. And the third is honesty. One should have honesty, sincerity, willing to say what are the weaknesses, what he or she can do, cannot do, so that Kalyana Mitra can give further guidance and suggestion how to continue the practice. And the fourth is diligent effort, persistent effort, the kind of effort that is not going down, that is not stagnating in the middle, but the effort stage by stage the reach, until the goal is reached. In this way, diligent effort is the fourth factor. The fifth one, arising and passing away, seeing the fast arising and passing away of the objects. So, in this way, when the yogi is endowed with these five factors, one can be assured that by pursuing the practice diligently, according to the guidance and instruction, one can reach one's goal in this very life. Most of us have the potency. We just have to make use of this potency in timely manner so that we can reach our goal in this very life. In the course of the meditation practice, there can arise some danger in at some point. So one should be careful of them and one should know the remedy, how to overcome them. In Patisambhidamagga, Venerable Sariputta mentioned three sets of danger. Also, the late Venerable Mahasi Chatterjee also explained, our teacher explained what can be the dangers to our samadhi concentration. At the first set, yeah. Ditanu Davanan Chitam Veke Panupatitam Dan Viva Jayatva Ekatani Samadapeti. Meaning, uh, the mind that goes to the past. The mind that goes to the past is followed by distraction. In other words, the mind that goes over the past fall into distraction. How to overcome it? Avoid it. And then keep the mind on the presently arising object. Because in the practice, even though in the sitting meditation, noting rising, falling, sometimes thoughts arise based on one's past experiences, what one has seen, heard, tasted, smelled, touched, and so on. These come back like a memory or thinking, Do not be carried away. When they arise, just note it, remembering, or if it is thinking, note it right away. And then bring the mind back to the primary object, presently arising object, rising, falling, and so on. The next one is another we will longing for the future. Longing for the future. The mind is shaken. Avoid it. Keep the mind on the presently arising object. Even though one is doing sitting meditation, walking meditation, but there are times the mind go to the future that has not arisen yet. So sometime planning what to do, this and that, longing for the future. After this retreat, I will do this and that. I'm looking forward to do this and that. So that is longing for the future. It is a danger to the concentration. So when planning arises, noted planning. And afterward, come back to the presently arising object. When I was leading a retreat in Bali, there was one yogi who said his mind go over to planning because he runs a restaurant business. So he was planning how to pay the staff, how to make profit. So I said, please, this is your time, your own time. You can think about your business when the retreat is over. Now this is the time for yourself. Please be mindful so that when you have mindfulness, your mind will be in peace away from the defilements. So in this way, when planning for the future, longing for the future arises, be mindful, note it, and then bring the mind back to presently arising object. So the next two sets, I will just be brief for today. Lina Chaitan Kosaja Nupatita, meaning a slackened mind. Slackened mind is accompanied by laziness. Kosaja is laziness. So when the mind is slackened, it fall into laziness, boredom. How to overcome it? One should generate effort to bring it up, to encourage oneself, as well as Kalyanamita should encourage such person who has a slackened mind. So in this way, when being aroused of this energy in the practice, the slackened mind will be overcome. Patipakahita Sekta Odasanupatita. Overstrained mind, putting more effort than needed, it falls into restlessness. So viriya effort, one should exert effort, but it shouldn't be over. Over exerted mind is followed by restlessness. So that's why if there is over exerted effort, one should uh, make it, bring it down to make it balance. Otherwise, if the effort is excessive, then restlessness can arise. So that's why the effort should be just right. It should be balanced. The last set, Abhinatan Chitan Raganupatitan, over inclined mind, bent mind, is followed by greed. When a yogi has good experiences, one tends to be expecting better and better experiences. So, in this way, when a person has good experience, expecting even better and better experience, it fall into greed. When that happens, practice cannot be smooth. So that's why there should not be expectation, not to let this subtle greed arise by expecting better and better experience. And Phanatan Chaitan Pyabhadanupatita, meaning withdrawn mind, it fall into uh, discourage or being upset. When a yogi feels that his or her practice is not progressing after such and such time, the one seems to get discouraged. So it's like dosa, discouraged, being upset, not to let it happen. As a yogi, the duty of the yogi is just to be mindful of the presently arising object, not to be discouraged, not to get upset, just to note the presently arising object. That's it. So do not feel discouraged if one doesn't feel progress in the practice. Because as a yogi, one should not be thinking about progress, whether progressing or not. There's no time to be thinking like that, just to be mindful of the presently arising object. That's all that counts. May you all be able to practice smoothly, happily, healthily, so that may you attain your goal in this very retreat, in this very life. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.